It's another episode of the Brett Allen Show. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. And today I'm very excited about this conversation. We are talking Miss Marvel with one of the stars, Anjali Bhimani. And we cannot miss this, a brand new book that is due to be released here very soon. I Am Fun Size, and so are you, the book. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start off with the book because I think this is very important. And one of the things that I think is very cool is that you did this all on your own through Kickstarter. And I think that's a great statement and a love letter to people who want to create content, whether it's video, audio, a book, that it can be done. So let's talk about it. How does it feel to have this about ready to release, and sort of your experience and process going about it this way?
Well, I'm ridiculously excited that we are finally releasing it in all forms out into the world. It's been a slow process, and if there is one thing that I am not, it is patient. So it's definitely been a learning curve, but getting to do it through Kickstarter, one of the main reasons I wanted to do it through Kickstarter to begin with, or at least start the process through Kickstarter, is that the whole reason that I started the web series that this book is based on is that I was inspired by the community. I was inspired by the community surrounding the games that I was in and the shows I was doing, and all these beautiful people that I was meeting online who were so giving and so generous and so artistic. And they would write me personal messages asking me questions about their lives. And while I didn't feel like I was necessarily qualified to be answering those questions directly to them, what I realized was the one gift that I could give back to this amazing community was I could share my own experiences, and very personal ones, not just the big awesome ones, you know, sharing the tough times and sharing the struggles and sharing the mistakes that I've made. So because the whole project began as a love letter to the community, I figured what a better way to do it if I was putting this whole project together, what better way to fund it, to create it, to sort of crowdsource even the ideas about it than to do it on Kickstarter. And because I do have a really lovely online community, we were very, very lucky that the Kickstarter, we did not just fund, we succeeded exceptionally well.
Yeah, it's way past.
Yeah, so what that enabled me to do was really make this book the way I wanted to make it, which is a much more expensive process than necessarily just doing it the normal way people print books. So the book itself is, I'm doing this as if I'm holding it. It's right around here.
That's a good acting exercise. I get it.
Exactly, I'm miming. Do you see my book? The book itself, I wanted the book itself to feel like a fun experience when you were reading it. And I wanted it to be in color. I wanted the illustrations to be a really fun thing to look at. I wanted to be able to feel the weight of it so that you know that you've got something solid in your hands, even though we also are doing it in ebook form and audiobook form. So I was able to get one of my favorite artists and illustrators, who incidentally I met her through the gaming community online. Her name's Vivian Trung, and she did all of the illustrations and the cover of the book and made it really, really beautiful. And yeah, we were really able to take our time with the graphic design, with the printing, and making sure that it's the quality printing that we wanted to do. And now we have this really beautiful book. Hang on, I'm going to grab it just so you can see what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
My exceedingly messy office. So this is the book itself.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So are you. And it's nice and color. And there are these gorgeous illustrations by Vivian that she's got in there. There are all of these beautiful, beautiful pages. And yeah, the Kickstarter, I really love Kickstarter, not just in the sense that you get your community involved and they get to be a part of it, but I think also for creators, sometimes when you're creating something, it's a little bit scary in that you don't know if people are going to want to buy it or want to read it or want to see it. If you're creating a game, are people going to want to play it? So Kickstarter doesn't just help us to fund things, but it helps us to reach out to the audiences that this is for and say, hey, do you guys actually want this? Because I really want to make it for you. And so I had that. I was so happy to have that knowledge that not only did people enjoy the series, but they were looking forward to the book. So short story longer, we finished designing the book and all of that and printing it up. And then I began to hunt for a publisher and realized there was no one out there doing it quite exactly the way I wanted to. So I started a publishing company. And I decided to do it because that's how you know, if no one else is doing it the way you want to do it, you should do it, right?
Right.
And so I started Tiny Paws Publishing, which is based on my production company. One of my production companies is Tiny Paws Productions. This is Tiny Paws Publishing, based on my dog, because he's got tiny little paws and he's awesome. And he's a big part of the book and big part of my life as well. So I created this publishing company, not just to be able to do this book the way I wanted to, but because I didn't want other friends of mine or other colleagues of mine to have to go through the learning curve that I did in order to make things happen, in order to keep their own rights to their own property while still putting their stories out there. I'm finding all the graphic designers, finding all the editors. It's a hunt, you know, it's a really long process. So I wanted to help them keep the fun part, the actual writing and designing, and then, you know, my team will handle the slightly less fun part for them.
Yeah, and it's great because it allows you to have really complete creative control over your product too. Not that the traditional way is bad, but it's harder to go that route. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've never published a book, but I would say
I feel like it's akin to going with a record label.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, they do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. They take care of the printing and the editing and the design of the cover and all of this stuff. But in terms of the rights that you still have to your property, that's always up in the air. The money that comes in is significantly less. This way, I can donate some of the funds directly to charities. I have one charity that I'm working with for the book launch called the Underdog Community Project that I'm very excited about. So this way we have just a lot more. Like you said, we have a lot more control, but with that, we also have a lot more power to do more good with it, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if somebody wanted to buy it and license it and make it into a Netflix series or a Hulu series or whatever, Tubi, I don't know, you have that ability to say, okay, you know, I think that's fantastic. And I always find it so fascinating when I talk to creatives, because really, like, you know, there's these projects like Miss Marvel, you know, that you're a part of, and of course the voiceover community, the gaming community, all these things that you've done, which are part of that machine, it's a good thing to be a part of. But then when you have the ability to sort of go out on your own and create content like this and go about it in a different way and crowdsource it, I think that's fantastic. You know what I mean? And it just, I think, probably causes maybe more appreciation even in the final product, because you've put so much more blood, sweat, and tears into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I know for me, it's certainly been much more satisfying than I imagine it would have been had I had to answer to someone else with it, or just handed it over to someone else to do things. I used to think it meant I was a control freak, but I don't think it's that. And I don't even like the terms control freak, because maintaining control over your artistic projects, I don't think is a bad thing.
No.
What it does enable me to do is make sure that it is the product that is the quality that I think the community deserves from me.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
no one else is allowed to make it any less, because I'm the boss and they are the boss. The community is the boss, just like with games, just like with anything that we see that we have created, whether a television show or a play or anything. Ultimately, the people who are the real boss are the viewers, are the players, are the people reading the book. Those are the people in charge. Those are who you're making it for. So being able to cater to that community is it's really important to me. And we have some more fun things planned for I Am Fun Size. It's not just going to be a series. It's not just going to be a book. I have a long plan for it.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's very exciting. And I think that's why too, a lot of comedians or whatever these days are just sort of releasing their specials on their own terms, putting it on their websites, allowing direct access to the fans. So if you have somebody that doesn't like it or isn't interested, well, then you don't have to buy it. That's why I do this video and audio, because it's like I'm in complete control of who I want. And of course there's that nerve of, you know, are people going to appreciate it? But that's great. I'm excited. And we'll link this in our show notes too, so people can still contribute if they'd like, and also get a copy. Well, let's talk Miss Marvel. Of course, this is a great show. It's been out now for a while, and the response has just been phenomenal. You do a wonderful job. Now that it's been out for a little bit and people have had a chance to watch, how does it feel to have been a part of such a massive universe? And to, I mean, your role is clearly very significant in the story, but to just kind of have it out there now and be like, okay, this was spectacular experience.
Yeah, it still feels like, I don't want to say like it's not real, but it still feels I'm still amazed to have been able to be a part of it. And not just so much the MCU as a broader universe, because that is such a huge and powerful thing. And they move quickly from story to story to story, right? But this specific one, to be a part of this specific story and this specific hero's journey has been really special to me. For some obvious reasons, because of my cultural background, but also because I think it's really important whenever you are doing something that involves what I like to call our modern day mythology, which is superheroes and anti-heroes and supervillains and all of this stuff. Whenever you're doing something that involves that, whether it's games or books or television shows or movies, you have the chance to help other people see themselves as a hero, to see the hero in themselves, because they see themselves in that character, whether it is, or in that story, whether it is because of their cultural background, because of their age, because of their gender, because of their sexual orientation, because of their personal abilities, whatever it is that makes them identify or helps them to identify with that story can be a very, very empowering thing. And this particular story hit on so many groups of people that I think historically have not necessarily been represented as much.
Sure.
I mean, to begin with, Kamala Khan she's one of us. She's a fan. She's a young person who's still trying to find her way in the world. She's a little awkward. She's trying to figure out who she is. There's a very human story underneath that. She's sort of like, she's every person. And then for it to be someone of this cultural background, and not just Pakistani, but Pakistani American, of two cultures, and having to straddle two worlds. And then on top of it, being able to tell the story of someone stepping into their own personal power, and how scary that can be, and how overwhelming that can be. It's not just all, wine and roses and unicorns. It can be scary to step into your personal power, to realize, as they say in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes, we've heard that so many times, but there's also just the fear of, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I, now that I know that I'm not like anyone else, especially for someone who might already be feeling like they are othered in their community or in their lives. And so it's been really special to hear the reactions from people all over the globe about how they identified with this. Sorry, I'm plugging in because I am such an excellent technical person here that
I love it.
I was trying to do it smoothly, and then I realized, nope, no chance. You're not going to do it smoothly. It's just
that's
all
right. People love all this.
That's what we do when we're coming from home. But to be able to bring this story to so many people all over the world who in one way or another are saying, I feel like I'm seen, and to be able to share the historical perspective with so many people who didn't either learn about partition in history class or didn't know the history of India and Pakistan and how the two of them came to be two separate countries. It's been a really, I know it might sound cliche, but it's been an honor and been very humbling. Because every time you hear someone who is affected that deeply by something you've done, I feel wildly grateful, and it is a constant reminder that you don't get to stop. You don't get to rest. I mean, you get to rest so that you can do stuff, but even if there are days that I don't want to wake up in the morning or I don't want to get out of bed, you better get out of bed because someone else needs you. So get out. Let's do it.
I love it. Well, we will make sure to put links to the book in our show notes so people can get a hold of it. Also, if you haven't seen Miss Marvel, watch it. It's fantastic. It's got everything you would want in a Marvel series, all the Easter eggs, all the everything, and all the success that you have. Anjali, is very well deserved. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. You take care.
You too.